What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to start something totally new. This is a totally new series. I have a lot more time to make videos now. You guys don't know this, but I'm switching over jobs. I used to work at UPS. I may make a video on that soon, just for any people thinking about working at UPS. But I used to work at UPS, and I worked overnight, so I wasn't able to do videos as much as I like to because I sleep in the day and work at night. So I never have time to make videos. Now I have time to make videos, and I'm going to be starting a new series. It's going to be called Latest in the League. So I'm going to be going over all the news in the league at one time, and I'm going to be taking a couple segments, a couple snippets of this video and making them individual videos, and they will be posted either later the same day or the next day. So any big headline news will be taken out from this video, and it will be put in a separate video so you guys can watch it individually. So I'm going to be starting off with a couple subjects. If this series picks up any steam, you guys can leave suggestions of what to talk about, and any suggestions of what you want me to focus on, and I will focus on that. But for now, we're just gonna go over a couple subjects in the league that happened so far this Sunday, and we'll start off from there. If you guys like the video, make sure you guys like the video, hit that subscribe button, if you're new, and ring that notification bell so you never miss a video. We're gonna start off first. This was earlier this morning. This was the Raiders fired GM Reggie McKenzie, who's been their GM since 2012. And a lot of people thought this guy was a good GM. A lot of people think this guy's a bad GM. It's pretty much mixed reviews depending on who you ask, especially Raiders fans. But as of late, you guys know Khalil Mack has been traded, and he's balling out. He's in the conversation of being Defensive Player of the Year. You look at Amari Cooper, who last night had 10 receptions, 217 yards, and 3 touchdowns. These are both players that Reggie McKenzie and John Gruden decided to trade for some draft currency. But in all viewings of things, it was a bad trade if they don't know what to do with their draft currency. I don't think it was the right move to fire Reggie McKenzie just yet. I mean, you fired him after you just won against the Pittsburgh Steelers. What does that tell you right there? At least fire him after a big loss, a division loss, something, it honestly looks like right now that Reggie McKenzie was literally fired because of Amari Cooper's performance against the Philadelphia Eagles. That's what it looks like to me. That's how I interpreted it. I don't know how any of you guys interpreted it, but it feels like Reggie McKenzie was fired because of Amari Cooper's performance against the Philadelphia Eagles. And to me, that's not fair to Raiders fans. That's not fair to Reggie McKenzie. And it's not fair to the Raiders organization. If you're going to fire him, you should have fired him years ago for the bad defense he's put out there on the field for you guys to deal with for years on end. Even when they went, what was it, 11-5, the year Derek Carr was going completely off, he had to have a good offense because their defense couldn't stop a nosebleed. So you look at what Reggie McKenzie has given you on the defensive side of the ball, besides Khalil Mack and besides a couple other guys, you look at, other guys that he's brung in, they're not good. Their D-line has been consistently bad for years. Their secondary has been consistently bad for years. Their linebackers have been put together by undrafted free agents and older players. And you should have fired him before that, but you fire him after a big win against a playoff contender in the Pittsburgh Steelers, which I'll get to the Pittsburgh Steelers in just a little bit. But to me, it just looks like you fired him because of the performance that Amari Cooper put together last night against the Philadelphia Eagles. So all that being said, I think he deserved to be fired, but just not yet. You should have waited until at least the end of the season, or you should have waited until a big loss, and then you could have kind of masked it. Even if it was for Amari Cooper, you could have masked it and be like, oh, look, this was a bad loss. It shouldn't have happened. This is because of what he put on the field for us, and fire him for that. I want to move on now to the Miami Miracle. Something that you've seen just once in a lifetime, and you see it every week, not the result, but you see the action every week. You see a team that's down 1 score and they have the ball within a few seconds of the game left with time expiring. They dump it off and they they give up a few laterals and they try to make it down the field. As a Giants fan personally, I've seen that many times. The Giants have tried to do that many times, lateral the ball, try to do something with it, and many times the Giants have failed. And I've seen it happen to the Giants many times. A lot of teams try to lateral the ball on the Giants, and it winds up not going in their favor. It happens all the time. You're gonna see it probably twice or once every week. You're gonna see a team down one score with time expiring, left, one play left. You're gonna see a team lateraling the ball, trying to get to the end zone. This is the one time that probably in my experience in the NFL, I've seen it happen. I think it was like Miami versus Duke. I've seen that in college before, but in the NFL, I've never seen it happen. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it happen, but I've never seen it happen. This was a great play. I mean, first, Ryan Tannehill, we'll get to the Patriots in just a second about Bill Belichick's decision to put in Rob Gronkowski instead of Devin McCourty on the field. But you have to give it to the Dolphins. Do not take anything away from the Dolphins. That looked like it was discussed in practice. Like I'm sure every team wants to, they practice it just in case that type of situation happens, but they know they're not going to focus too much time on it because they don't think it's going to happen really in a real game scenario. But you can tell that they have practiced it before, that it wasn't just made up. Ryan Tannehill decides to dump it off. I think it was Kenny Stills in the beginning, or Devontae Parker. It was one of those two. One of those two had the ball at first, and then it was Kenny Stills at first. Then he laterals it out over to Devontae Parker. And Devontae Parker laterals it over to Kenyon Drake. Kenyon Drake makes a move up and then decides to cut it back, go around, and get a good block by, I don't know, I think it was O'Leary. I think it was Nick O'Leary. Correct me if I'm wrong. It was a bigger guy that decided that got a block on a Patriots defender, and he was off to the races. Makes a nice swivel move inside to outside to the outside hash marks to the sideline. And Rob Gronkowski gets a terrible angle on what Stephen A. likes to call it his peg leg self. Gets a terrible angle and misses a tackle, and Kenyon Drake winds up winning the game for the Miami Dolphins 34-33. Now that we went over, we gave the props to the Miami Dolphins. What the hell was Bill Belichick thinking for the Patriots in getting Rob Gronkowski on the field playing safety? Now, we see it all the time in these Hail Mary situations. We see offensive players that are pretty good at catching the ball, pretty tall guys, come out into the field and try to bat the ball away. For the Giants, we see Odell Beckham come in these Hail Mary situations. He comes in and plays safety. For the Falcons, you see Antonio, and for the Falcons, you see Julio Jones in the field making a play. For the Lions, Calvin Johnson used to be on the field, so on and so forth. You see bigger guys, you see the guys that can catch the ball, bat the ball away from offense, go on to the defense to place the Hail Mary situations. But the Dolphins are on about the 31-yard line. You have to throw the ball a good 70 yards to reach the end zone. There is no way possible that a Hail Mary situation would be forced upon. Why would you put Rob Gronkowski in that situation? He has an injury problem. He is not the same Rob Gronkowski from before. Even so, he's a bigger guy. He's not... He's more like a linebacker build. On top of that, he's not very athletic in that in a linebacker build. He doesn't have sideline to sideline quickness. He doesn't have the ability to make angles to tackle a ball carrier. Kenyon Drake just barely even tried on Rob Gronkowski. Rob Gronkowski couldn't get an angle on him. On top of that, he's not fast enough. With the likes of Kenny Stills, Devontae Parker, and Kenyon Drake, you would expect a more faster guy out there on the field for the New England Patriots, and that just did not happen. And what a job by the Miami Dolphins. What an even worse job by Bill Belichick in his arrogant self, thinking that he knows everything. I'm gonna throw Rob Gronkowski in here, even though nobody would think he would do well. I'm gonna throw it well. Now I'm gonna put him out there, and if he does well, I'm gonna look like the genius. Now you look like a moron, Bill Belichick. So there's that, a Miami miracle taking place for the Miami Dolphins as they win 34-33, as the New England Patriots on the road against the Miami Dolphins are a whopping 7-10 in the Tom Brady era. So Tom Brady is 7-10. in road games against Miami, playing in Miami. So that's a big stat to look forward to every year. Every year it happens. I think last year they lost against Miami, and the year before that as well. So you should always be looking for an upset against against the New England Patriots when Miami is playing at Miami. We now look at the Bears. Now the Bears stunk it up at the at Soldier Field. I know it was at MetLife Stadium against the New York Giants, and the New York Giants beat them 30-27 in overtime. But that was with Chase Daniel. You look at Mitch Trubisky, and he didn't play any better. I believe the guy had 3 or 4 interceptions. You look at Mitch Trubisky, he didn't do much for that team that Chase Daniel wouldn't have. But, you know, what are the Bears right now, right? You see what they did against the New York Giants. Now, the New York Giants are starting to pick up some steam. I get that. But the Bears, but the Los Angeles Rams don't have a good defense. They have some key guys on there. You got your Aaron Donalds, you got your Ndamukong Suh, Marcus Peters, John Johnson, guys like that, and they win the games 15-6. But what are the Bears right now? I can't really distinguish them. Like I'm trying to visualize them in the playoffs. How well will they do? Will they be like a Jacksonville Jaguars team of last year that has a good defense, a so-so offense? I mean, they've had some really good games on offense this year. Don't get me wrong, but the performance they put out against the Rams was terrible. Even though they won the game, defensively they played well. Offensively they played like crap. So I don't know what to expect from the Bears this season. But you got to give it to the Bears defense for stopping a high-powered Los Angeles Rams offense with a healthy Jared Goff, a healthy Todd Gurley, a healthy Robert Woods and Brandon Cooks, and they just couldn't move the ball down the field. I think the Rams are just allergic to the cold temperature. Maybe it is the cold temperature. It looked like they were a little stiff on offense. But you got to give it to the Rams defense for actually proving everybody wrong that, you know, they have some key guys, but they couldn't stop a nosebleed. But now they stopped the Rams, the Bears offense, who have been known to light it up. 3 or 4, I can't remember, 3 or 4 interception on Mitch Trubisky is pretty good. And you got to give it to the Bears defense. Did very well against a juggernaut in the Rams. And it kind of reminds me of that Cowboys game against the New Orleans Saints, where nobody thought New Orleans Saints would lose to the Cowboys. Same thing here against the Rams and the Bears. I want to move on and give a little shout-out to linebacker Bradley Chubb out of North Carolina State, I believe. NC State. Yeah. He broke Von Miller's 11.5 team sack record for the Denver Broncos. It was Von Miller and Rulon Jones that had the 11.5 team sack record for the Denver Broncos. And after Denver's loss to San Francisco, the only bright spot in that was Bradley Chubb broke Von Miller's record, in which he has 12 sacks on the year so far. To break the all-time sack record, the all-time rookie sack record, the Bradley Chubb has to get 3 more sacks. Just about 3 more sacks, 2.5 more sacks to break Javon Curse's rookie sack record all time. So we're going to be looking forward to that. We're going to keep track of that. Bradley Chubb is already making his name known as one of the best pass rushers in the league. Has more sacks, I believe, right now than Von Miller. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know. I think Von Miller has about like 13 or something like that sacks. But what a draft move that the Denver Broncos have done to get to have Von Miller and get Bradley Chubb. I didn't think it was a good move at first. I wanted them to get Minkah Fitzpatrick, but they're definitely proving me wrong. Definitely a reason why I am not a GM right now. I want to move on to the Browns right now, getting their win against the Carolina Panthers. The Carolina Panthers, a lot of people knew that the Browns would win this game because the Carolina Panthers are falling off a cliff. I am happy right now because that helps the Giants in the playoff race. The AFC needs to beat out the NFC in this for the Giants to make the wild card right now. So that helps us out just a little bit. And congratulations to the Browns for getting, their 4th win right now. That's more than they've gotten in the past 3 years. So great job by the Cleveland Browns. They are now, I believe, 3-0. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know. I think they have 3 wins, 3-1 or something like that, ever since Hugh Jackson has left. And and Hugh Jackson is 0-4. Hugh Jackson himself is not 0-4. The Bengals are 0-4 ever since Hugh Jackson has been hired by the Bengals, and the Bengals are just falling off a cliff. I don't know if Hugh Jackson is on some kind of spy mission or whatever, and he got fired by the Cleveland Browns and he's been sent to the Cincinnati Bengals to go sabotage them or whatever it is. But the Bengals are just falling off a cliff ever since Hugh Jackson has been fired. And it seems like wherever Hugh Jackson goes, they just can't win a game. So, congratulations to the Browns. I don't know what the hell the Bengals are going through right now, but they need some kind of intervention. They started off with a hot start in the beginning of the game, but injuries happened. They started losing games. Their offense has been playing bad, and that's what happens. And I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know if Andy Dalton is injured or if Andy Dalton got benched, but I know Jeff Driscoll was in the game. But yeah, the Bengals aren't looking good right now. Let's move on to Amari Cooper, who I just want to give a quick shout out about. Let's talk about this. Is Amari Cooper the answer for the Dallas Cowboys? Now, I want to talk about Dak Prescott as well. I want to kind of put that together. I think Dak Prescott, and this is coming from a Giants fan, and this is coming from somebody that really doesn't like Dak Prescott, but you can't argue what they put out on the field. Dak Prescott has, in his games against the Philadelphia Eagles, has outmatched Carson Wentz in almost every single game. Dak Prescott, 42 completions in this game. You could argue he's Dak and Dunk, right? He's Dak and Dunk. That's what I call him, Dak and Dunk. 42 completions out of 54 attempts. 455 yards. I believe 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. How's he solidified himself as a franchise QB for the Dallas Cowboys? Is he worthy now of being signed by the Dallas Cowboys because of Amari Cooper? Has Amari Cooper elevated his game? Yes, that is a good thing. I think Amari Cooper has elevated his game, but it's not good for the Dallas Cowboys in drinking the Kool-Aid on Dak Prescott because of Amari Cooper. If you are a franchise quarterback, you should be playing well no matter who is out on the field. Remember, Dez Bryant wasn't all that bad. I know Dez Bryant only ran a couple routes. He ran a couple fly routes. He ran a couple curl routes. He ran dig routes. It's all pretty much he's done. But he's still a good receiver. You have your Cole Beasleys out there. You have your Michael Gallups. You have, your so-so tight ends. You have a good offensive line. You have Ezekiel Elliott. What more do you need from an offense to be a franchise quarterback? To me, Carson Wentz is still the better quarterback, but I think Dak Prescott has solidified himself as a franchise quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. I don't think he's going to elevate the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys are going to elevate him. I don't think this is a weird situation, but I don't think Dak Prescott is the leader of that team. I think the Cowboys I don't know how to explain it, but the Cowboys have to sort of build around him in order to elevate his game, but he is no way going to elevate their game. He's just going to play off of what he's given, just like a game manager. He's probably going to be the best game manager in the NFL. That's what I consider Dak Prescott. He's not going to make any plays for me, in my opinion. He's not going to make any game-winning plays. I think he's just going to feed off of everybody. That's what he is. You know what? That's what he is. He's a game manager. He's now the best game manager in the NFL. 455 yards, I believe, is a career high for him, and 42 completions, I believe, is a career high for him. And I believe a career high for Amari Cooper, 10 receptions, 217 yards, and 3 touchdowns. What a job he's done. But, the Cowboys are in a spot where they don't know if this is going to be a dynasty or they don't know if this is just, a tease, and they're going to be falling into the Kool-Aid of Dak Prescott is their franchise quarterback. But I think he solidified himself to the Dallas Cowboys that he is their franchise quarterback. So there's that. The Cowboys now have 8 wins. They're this much closer to winning the NFC East, and we'll see what they do in the playoffs. Their defense is great, don't get me wrong, but I just don't think they're a championship team just yet. We now move on to our final subject, and the Pittsburgh Steelers. I've been talking about, guys, I grew up in Pennsylvania. I grew up in New York, Pennsylvania, and now I'm here in Florida. So I've had my fair share of teams, watching teams, getting opinions from fans. I get opinions from Philadelphia Eagles fans. I live in Pennsylvania, Eagles fans, Pittsburgh fans. In New York, I'm a Giants fan. I get opinions from Bills fans. I had Bills fans in Florida, actually, and Jets fans. in Florida, Bucks fans. I'm in the Tampa area, Orlando, Tampa area. So Bucks fans, Miami fans, Jaguars fans. I get it all from everybody. And growing up in Pennsylvania, I lived there for about couple years, 7 or 8 years. And with watching the Pittsburgh Steelers, they just have been the biggest fraud in the NFL. And don't get me wrong, I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are a good team, but they've just been the biggest frauds in the NFL. They've been the team to beat high-powered teams with great records. They've been a team to make it far in the playoffs, make it to the AFC Championship, and lose the AFC Championship. And then they've been the team to lose to teams like the Oakland Raiders, who have like 3 wins. I think this is their 3rd win. They had two wins going into this game. And then they've lost to teams with backup quarterbacks. They've lost to teams like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when they were terrible. They're still terrible, but when they were even worse. They've lost to teams like the Arizona Cardinals when they had Drew Stanton at quarterback. They've lost to teams. They lost to plenty of other terrible teams. They tied with the Browns this year. They've got smacked around by the Jaguars consistently when they were bad. So, and the Miami Dolphins when they were bad. The list just keeps going on and on as I'm thinking about these teams. The Pittsburgh Steelers have been the biggest frauds in the NFL. Everybody is on their bandwagon. It's Ben Roethlisberger. It's Le'Veon Bell, or now James Conner. It's Antonio Brown. It's James Harrison when he was there. It's Cameron Hayward. It's all these other guys. Mike Tomlin is the best coach in the NFL. All of this. They have a decent roster. Their defense has been terrible for years, but their offense has been high-powered. They had a great offensive line. They have all these pieces. They have all these fans. And they're saying every year, the Pittsburgh Steelers are in contention to make the playoffs. Every year, you see these season previews. Pittsburgh Steelers, they're my pick to go to the Super Bowl. They're my pick to get, the best record in the AFC. This and that. But they always disappointed. Why aren't fans waking up to this? Why aren't anybody waking up to this, that the Pittsburgh Steelers have been the biggest frauds in the NFL? They've been teams to bring you up, and they've been the team to bring you back down. I don't expect anything from the Pittsburgh Steelers this year. I don't expect anything from the Pittsburgh Steelers next year. I don't know if Ben Roethlisberger is going to be the starting quarterback next year. Not that in the fact that he's playing bad, he is regressing, but he's just getting older. He had to announce that he was coming back this season, so you don't know if he's going to be coming back next season. But the Pittsburgh Steelers are just the biggest frauds in the NFL. I don't know how anybody can combat that. They're 7-4-1 right now. I think 7-5-1 right now. They lost to the Oakland Raiders. They lost. They're losing to these teams. The Cleveland Browns. It seems like the Cleveland Browns are getting them almost every year and playing them close every year. So I don't know what to think about the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Remember to subscribe if you're new. Remember to ring that notification bell so you never miss a video. This has been Latest in the League by Kid Blue, and I'll see you guys in the next video.